Fucking money doesn't grow on trees, bitch.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of Overly Honest Dads. This is episode 19, isn't it, Magnus?
It is indeed, yeah.
Great, fantastic. Welcome to the podcast. If you haven't heard us before, Overly Honest Dads is a podcast that aims to give you an honest viewpoint of what fatherhood and parenthood in general is really like, where you can tell it exactly like it is. My name's Matt, and I'm your host, and I'm joined, as ever, by Magnus.
Hi, guys.
And John.
Hello.
How are we doing, everyone?
Yeah, not too bad.
Awesome.
Not too bad. How are you doing, Matt?
Yeah, good. Although my microphone's in a different position to normal, it's sort of sticking up somewhat phallically, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me feel slightly uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm not in my usual position and rhythm, but hey, we'll get through this.
I think it looks impressive.
We'll get through this. We've done this 18 times already, so I'm sure that we can manage the 19th.
And I've loved everyone.
Me too. So in terms of this episode, then, if you've been listening to some of our recent segment-based episodes, you'll know what to expect. We're going to start out with dad news. Then John is going to give us his first ever product review, which will be exciting. John, what are you reviewing?
I am reviewing a Rocketbook,
Rocketbook.
which is a notepad.
Okay, exciting. We're reviewing so many exciting products. Last week we reviewed a Hoover, and this week we're reviewing a notepad. I bet you guys out there, listeners, you're full of excitement right now. I bet you can barely contain yourself. I know I can't. Once we've done the review, then we're going to review.
What's wrong with this guy?
I like it.
Then we're going to review episode 4 of Babies, the Netflix documentary. We watched it together today, and it was a bit of a disaster because Magnus spilt a drink, food arrived, John and Magnus were showing each other memes. We didn't get quite through to the end of the episode, but we'll cover the bits that we did.
Shit.
And then John's giving you a preview of his thoughts.
It was a goddamn disaster. I'm sitting here in wet fucking underwear.
Yeah, he's got marmalade vodka.
Surprised you haven't taken them off yet, darling.
Maybe.
He's
that
got
marmalade vodka just to
all
shout
over his
out there
crotch,
is
yeah.
really tasty.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Thank you,
buy
wine up.
it.
And Magnus's crotch has had a big taste of it tonight. And then we're going to round off the episode with Am I Being Unreasonable, as has now become tradition. So we're going to kick off with dad news, and this week Magnus is going first. So Magnus, give us your dad news.
I am sick of food time with Quinn. I want to kill myself. I was ruffling through drawers for the receipt to take back this child because she's so messy.
Oh, no.
It's ludicrous. Do you have experience with this with your children? Are your kids like mega messy? Like take the
My
piss
daughter
messy?
is.
And how does it work? Like what
It
does
works
she
that
do?
her brother goes round to her bedroom and cleans up.
Sorry, excuse me.
He doesn't like stuff untidy, and if he knows her room's untidy, he'll go
Oh,
to
but
her
we're
room
talking
and
about meal times.
Oh,
No, yeah, I'm
mi-
talking about meal times.
meal times. I thought you said
But
messy.
that's an interesting point.
I thought you said messy as in she's messy in general. I didn't realise mealtime. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, when we're having
I was
food,
paying attention. Sorry. Shit.
No, it's fine. But I'm very impressed. That's quite good. She's an absolute maniac when it comes to food. She will pick up the food, give it a chew. If she doesn't like it, it doesn't go back on the plate or the table. It goes on the fucking floor. And the thing is, she will search for the floor to put it on. She'll search for it, and
That
to
shows
add,
attitude already, mate.
to add, she'll look at me in the fucking eye and do it. And this kills me every single time. And I've read up on how you can try and fix it. And half of the things online say no hitting children, no hitting children. Half of the things online say just deal with it. It's something that they grow out with.
Yeah, it's a phase.
It's a
Yeah,
phase. She's been doing it her entire life of 18 months. And it's probably because it's my problem. I'm not a messy eater. I've never have been. I like things to be very clean, almost sterile, maybe to a fault. I'm also aware of that, and I realise she shouldn't be in a sterile environment. But at the same time, it's like she takes the piss with it, and I have no idea what to do. She's a joker. She loves it. She laughs so much. But
Chris
yeah.
grew out of it the moment his sister was born, because he basically was looking for attention. He was like, "Oh, look how tidy I am! Look at me! Doesn't you, baby? No, but look at me! Look, I'm being tidy. I'm doing everything you tell me." And he grew out of it completely. Like the moment Sienna was born, he stopped doing that. He stopped doing a bunch of
that's
things that he
brilliant.
wasn't meant to do. Yeah.
I've only stopped doing it recently, maybe in the last couple of months. She did it for a while.
Okay.
Like she'd just hold her hand out off the side of the
What is
chair,
that?
and then look me in the eye, and then just drop it as if to say, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Daddy?
Talking to me.
You can't stop me. I'm going to drop it. Look, I dropped it." But yeah, it just
exactly
went.
what Quinn does.
It just went away. It just went away at some point. Me and Alex would always say, "No, that's not good. That's naughty." There's no discipline other than just saying it's naughty and don't do it. And yes, she just stopped.
But they also look for the reaction as well. So if you don't react, they'll stop doing it. I think that's
do you find that, like, with their grubby hands, they will try and grab everything?
Yes,
like,
yes, they're discovering
all
the world,
walls,
man.
everything, and it's crazy, man. I'm having a hard time with that. But
it's normal.
It's a phase. Yeah, I know, but it doesn't give you much solace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just sucking it up. But Jesus Christ, when I'm tired and it's like 7:30 in the morning and we have to feed her and she's doing that, it touches a nerve.
Yeah.
All in all,
it's good. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay then. Well, John, what have you got to tell us this week?
My oldest son has discovered the value of money, which is quite interesting. So he comes over to me yesterday and he goes, "Papa," which winds me up because he's meant to say papa in Italian and he sounds like a middle-class little git. It's overly honest dads, not overly honest papas. Really winds me up. But anyway, he comes over to me because, "Oh, Dad, this mech, this Lego Ninjago mech and this and that and the other." I was like, "Oh yeah, let's have a look at it." So I looked it up on a computer, brought Amazon. And he's just like, "Oh, wow, yeah, that one's 67 quid. Oh, or that one 40 quid. And I was just like, "Oh, how much money have you got in your savings with all the chores you've been doing?" "I don't know, I counted the other 19. And I said, "How much is that?" 67. "How long did it take you to get to £19? "Oh yeah, it's really expensive, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah." "So you can't buy it, can you? Because you can't afford it." "Oh, but Daddy, I thought you would buy it." I was like, "No, you got to understand the value of money. So do you have some money to contribute to it?" And then he just started laughing because I realised I was being sarcastic. But he realised, it's like, "Oh, no, I'll probably go for the one for £17 because it's a nice dragon and all the rest of it." I'm going to get him the mid-range one next month for sure. But it's the fact that he finally realised that, you know what? Fucking money doesn't grow on trees, bitch. You know what I mean? And it was just sort of like, yeah, I'll buy the £17 one. It's just like, yeah, because you can't fucking afford the rest of it. It's not like you can get everything you want. And I think cool. that's a nice real. Mind you, he's 8. He's 9. Jeez, he's 9. So you know, he's starting to understand certain things, which I thought was quite cool. And now he's doing chores and he's getting paid for them and all that. And he's the tidy one that goes to tidy his sister's room and likes the Hoover and all the rest. So it's nice to give him money because, you know, appreciation for doing some work.
And so how much is he? What's his labour cost?
He gets like £1. I mean, as I said,
good value for money.
I think next month we're going for the sweatshop project plan and then sort of see where we go from there. No, but I'm really happy that he has an understanding of work and what it means to work and get money and stuff like that. So
that's cool. Good. Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
How about you, Matt?
Awesome. So yeah, they congratulated
fucking
themselves.
segue, baby.
High five.
Honestly, they're high-fiving because they threw it over to me in a smooth way, which just for these guys, I suppose, is an achievement. We've come a long way since our early episodes where I'd just be sitting here.
Nobody wanted to hear from Matt.
I'd be sitting here waving at them and they'd just be chatting some absolute shit that I'd have to just endure. Anyway, let me get on with it. So my dad news is related to something I saw on Netflix this week. So our usual routine here is my wife would go to bed around 9ish and then I'd go and chill out by myself for a few hours. I'm a bit of a night owl. And I went up and open Netflix and a new Transformers show was there on the Netflix. And straight away something rose in me, not physically, emotionally, something rose in me to say, wow, like the Transformers was the first thing that I remember really loving. Like the original cartoon, the toys, I used to love that shit. Like, you know, Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Decepticons.
I kept thinking about you because Ultra Magnus is in this show.
Indeed.
And I kept wondering, what would an Ultra version of my Magnus look like?
Bigger afro.
Yeah.
A planet of the giant forest.
Just a chrome afro.
Yeah,
just
chrome
metallic chrome afro.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were younger and you used to use Decepticon for saying women that look good from behind and they had an ugly face?
Yeah.
And you used to call them Decepticons.
He did do that. He did do that.
Golden Deceiver.
Yeah. I think that was mine.
Yeah, I think so. I got that from someone.
Yeah, I think it was from me. I got it from somewhere else. But yeah, so the point of it was that this is one of the first things I loved when I was a kid. And I remember being, one of my earliest memories is being around 3 years old and sitting on my favourite chair at my dad's old house. I think reading some kind of magazine or comics that was related to Transformers. And it made me realise that it's not too far off the point where Amelie will be consuming things that will then go on to define parts of consumption for the rest of her life. So the choices we make around this time, or maybe not right now because she's not 2 yet, but in the next year or two of her life, in the future, 30, 40 years from now, she will encounter bits of that media, and that will bring the same kind of instinct and nostalgia that a Transformers thing brought up in me, and that just made part of the whole responsibility of being a parent feel more real. Not that I don't get it at this point. I do get the responsibility of being a parent. It's hammered into you every day, but it was just, I suppose, an added layer. And when it comes to the first couple of years having a baby, there's not much in the way of choice, because you need to just do the things you need to do to assist their development, but you're not making that many huge choices. Once they get to a certain point, then you are making choices in terms of what they consume, how they consume it, in what volumes and in what way, and it just made me think that there's a new phase of this whole adventure that's not far off the horizon. And I watched the whole thing of the new Transformers, and it's not bad.
Excellent.
There's even
Chris loves it as well.
There's even reference to politics in it. So so this is I think there's supposed to be 3 series of this show. And
someone bring their guitar again.
Yeah, that was
Matthew.
you.
Was it me?
Yeah, that was you.
I don't know.
Trumptron.
Oh, okay. Let me put my guitar away.
Yeah, that was you. So in this new show, they're on Cybertron for these 6 episodes, and there's a peace treaty that Megatron is trying. I feel so ridiculous talking about this.
Fine.
Megatron's trying to get Optimus Prime to sign a peace treaty, but it would essentially mean that Autobots being subjugated under Decepticon rule.
Okay.
And Optimus Prime is like, no way, we're going to resist. And it's like almost like mentioning American politics, like the choice between proto-fascism versus freedom, and it was a bit strange to see those themes in Transformers. I don't know if they were in there before, but I never noticed it. But they're in there now. And so it's interesting if you as a parent were nostalgic for Transformers, watch the new show.
If you're a geek like us, watch it because it's pretty good.
Do you guys remember Reboot?
No.
CGI show?
Nope.
No? With the user, and it was based inside of a computer, and the main villain was called Megabyte? No?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Do you guys remember Biker Mice?
Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. That gave me wood. I love that bloody show.
Well, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know, mice, they get sexy.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me,
Neighbours.
it was always Transformers.
Home and Away.
For me, it was always Transformers, and I was glad to see it, especially because those live-action TV films are just a bit shit. So it was nice to get back to some
there's
of the
too many
old school
Flash
stuff.
shit going on in there.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll round us out for Dad News. So we are going to take a very brief break, and when we return, John is going to review a notebook. Don't go away. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. And so we're going to start to review, or more specifically, John is going to review a notebook. So John, why don't you take us away and talk us through the name of the product, the manufacturer, price, and where you bought it from?
Yes. So, just as a bit of a story behind this, I'm really of the idea of using notebooks for notes. I take a ton of notes.
What else would you use a notebook
No,
for?
but a lot of people just have a bunch sitting around. They fill in 2 pages and don't actually use them. I actually write through all my notebooks. I'm not sure, we used to work together. I used to go through a ton of notebooks and draw all sorts of things on them. But anyway,
Penises.
I have
Mussolini.
a realization that I want to kind of, make sure my kids have an environment to live through in their life, and I like to save the trees where possible. I'm not a tree hugger, but I do think waste is waste. So I was looking at different options, and I found the Rocketbook Everlast Smart Reusable Notebook.
Snappy name.
Yeah, very snappy name. But it's Rocketbook is the main thing, because you can actually get the app on Android or iTunes. And what it is, it's not many pages. It's a very thin notebook, which comes with a cloth and a pen. And you take your notes, and the cloth, damp it in water, you wipe it, and it wipes completely clean.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything?
Everything comes off completely, which is quite nice. You can write quite nicely, like if it's paper.
Semen.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you spaff on it?
Yeah, you can spaff on it, and it's all good, especially during, your evenings before Netflix, Matthew. But, the idea of it is something reusable. Yeah. Now, I ordered it thinking this is going to be neat. When it came with a bit of a surprise, because then look it up properly. The app actually scans the pages, and you can choose what to do with it. So I have the app on my work phone where I scan the pages, and they go straight into Box, into the cloud, and I've got all my notes saved there, and I can just wipe the page straight away. And then on my personal stuff, I'll take pictures. Like, for example, for the podcast, I'll take notes. I'll snap it, and it goes straight into my Gmail, and I can, view it on my phone.
Oh, I like
And you can
that.
just wipe it, and it's reusable, and it comes like in 3 sizes. So there's like the the tiny one, which is
A5.
no, the mini A6.
Oh,
There's
wow.
the
Very
executive
small.
A5, which is the one I have, and then the A4,
Okay.
basically. And I really like it. Now, to be honest, I mean, the thing that I was looking at was the Remarkable pad, which is exactly like writing on paper, and it's a pad, and it's
It's got a little QR code or whatever at the top.
and it's 400 quid, and I'm not going to spend
come
400
on.
quid. So to be honest, this is £31, the Rocketbook,
Uh-huh.
for the A5 version. And I've been using it practically every day. My notes, and I enjoy writing and drawing and all the rest of it. Just literally, you can use different colors. You can buy the pens. The pens are quite cheap. I think I bought 4 pens of different colors for, God, what was it? I think it was $6.80 something, like those weird Amazon prices. And I bought it on Amazon, obviously, which is the other thing.
Yeah.
But I really found it useful, to be honest, because I use pads all the time.
Okay. So, avoiding the obvious joke, what would you say are the positives of the pad?
Positives is
That is so juvenile.
Shut
I
it,
really
fuck
like
you,
it.
You tampon. The notebook. I don't know. I think it's the fact that I don't waste paper. I really enjoy that, and it's really
Okay.
user friendly. The app is really user friendly. It scans the page really easily, and it's nice. And if I have leakage, I can just pad myself up, and it's all good.
So, I mean, it's good that you're doing that because paper, it doesn't grow on trees, does it? It doesn't grow on trees, paper. So I think you're doing.
You see,
a great
that's a
job
shit
there.
dad joke because both me and Mag are kind of going, should we laugh or should we just tell him to fuck off? And
Matt, we need to nip that in the bud.
yeah, can we edit this in post? Literally.
Okay.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
Now that's a joke.
Okay, so the positives are you're saving on paper, you're saving the environment. What else?
I don't know. I think it's very thin, very easy to carry around. I like that aspect of it. The negatives, I don't particularly like the pens.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a various collection of pen. I normally use actually fountain pens. I really enjoy using fountain pens. I really don't like the pen. The pen is very just it dries straight away. If you leave it open on your desk, it dries straight away. That winds me up, and it's just there's no other choices of pens. It's either those
So
pens
it's
or nothing.
proprietary. You have to use that.
Yeah, you have to use those erasable pens, and the erasable pens come with very weak ink, as you can imagine. And I don't say I'll make my own ink because I haven't got to that point yet. I probably will at some point, but I
Make your own ink. Is that a thing people do?
yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
can do that. You can make your own ink, your own shade of
I
whatever
had
colour
no
you want to use.
idea.
Yeah, I've learned from my former boss and my mentor, who actually has his own shade of green for everything he writes. It's quite cool.
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
You can use red cabbage to make ink.
Yeah.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
You can also use the blood of a calf to make ink.
You can use semen.
Yes, the
Moving swiftly
Mixed
along.
with poo.
from this sticky situation.
Moving swiftly along from that. What about the app? We talked about the product. How's the
Yeah,
app?
the app is really user friendly. As I said, I mean, it's very simple to open an account, and it literally connects the box and connects to your iCloud, whatever you want to use, really easily. And I thought that it literally took me less than 5 minutes to set everything up, and then literally you just get it out, take the picture of the page, and it literally scans the page straight away and sends everything off.
Admittedly, I would have been pissed. It would have taken me more than 5 minutes to set up an app for.
No, but the
a
point
fake
is,
notebook.
for my work thing, it's Box, it's my email address, and it's
okay.
also the cloud. So I set up
connectivity.
three different things in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Where normally you'd expect to like details and another password and an elbow password and fuck knows. Whether this is a lot easier. I mean, it was really really simple, so I liked it.
Okay. So, would you say it's value for money?
Yeah, value for money. I mean, 31 quid is really good. I mean, compared to the remarkable fucking 400 quid, I'm going to wait another 10 years before I buy one of those because it's well expensive. But yeah, very, very worth the money. Again, the pen is the thing that kind of kicks it in the balls a bit. But yeah.
Can I ask, what about organising your data? How does that work? Does it just get sent to a folder?
It sends to a folder, you can rename the file. I mean, I get it sent all in PDF. I want it in PDF, but it can actually take your calligraphy and use your calligraphy and turn it into text if you wanted to set that up as well, which is quite good.
Okay. Would you say this is essential or a nice to have?
I think with the way we need to get green at some point, I think it's a little more than a nice to have. I think it's essential to start saving on paper. Because I do think we waste a ton of fucking paper. I mean, I'm a big fan of DocuSign and electronic signatures, so for me, it's an essential.
See, I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say that you have to use electricity to use it and to access the notes. And would the carbon being used to generate the electricity,
my computer would be on anyway, Matthew.
Overdo, or like picking your phone up. And
my phone would be on anyway.
Yeah,
that would be
I'm not sure.
negligible.
Yeah, as I say, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, so John, give us your overall verdict and take us home with a mark out of 10.
Overall verdict, very good bit of gear. I enjoy it. But because of the pen, I'm going to give it a 6.
A 6?
Yes.
See, I thought from your review that we were talking more like a 7.58. Hearing
that's
6
what
is
I
a surprise.
No, but for me, the pen and the quality of the writing is highly important.
Okay.
That's a personal preference. That's why it gets a 6. If the pen were better, it'll definitely get an 8.
Well, I would say you have sold it to me. Because I have experience of using a shitload of paper. Obviously, I'm doing my degree, and I go through notebooks like a mofer. And
exactly, that's exactly what happens to me. Yeah,
because they're for working out calculations and whatnot, and I don't really tend to go back to them unless I absolutely need to.
Yeah.
So I've got like a whole...
I think the confidentiality piece of this as well is huge for me because I work in HR. If I'm in the office, obviously we're not in the office at the moment, but if I'm in the office, every time I take a note and it's something personal, I have to turn the page and start another page because I don't want people to see on what's on the other page if I've got someone next to me. With this is, you write it, yes, you turn the page, you just take a picture of it and then wipe it off and off you go. Do you know what I mean? So I find that useful.
Cool. And just if anyone was zoned out when we were talking about the name of the product, let's just reiterate what the name of the product is.
So the name of the product is Rocketbook Notepad.
Rocketbook Notepad. So get on Amazon or wherever you want to buy your tat, and you can check it out if you want. And that is the Overly Honest review for this week. So another break is coming your way, and when we return, we're going to review Babies episode 4. And spoiler alert, John didn't like it. We're going to be back in a moment. Bye. Welcome back to Overly Honest Dads, and we're going to recap the majority of the Netflix episode, Netflix Babies documentary episode 4. I got there in the end, and this episode is about language and first words. So we're going to recap the episode and give our thoughts. We got up to the start of the third expert. As we've learned in these shows, we meet many experts and they do experiments on babies. That's kind of the format of this whole show. So we start off with a couple, and there's a baby babbling, and we talk about how towards the end of the first year, babies start to say their first words. They embark on a journey to language. We meet baby Amelia, who's at a space museum, and they're talking about how babies learn language. Then we get the titles with the sweeping music, and then we return to baby Pasco, who we first met in the previous episode, and he's walking around now, so he's clearly advanced. I think he's 11 months when we see him in this episode, and so he's skipped crawling and gone straight to walking, and he's babbling away in a car, and that's nice to see. Pasco's very cute baby. Then we jump over to Philadelphia in Pennsylvania in the US of A, and I can't read my writing here. There's a woman talking about surviving, and surprise, surprise, she's an expert. Oh no, she's going swimming. That's what my handwriting says. And she's going swimming, and surprise, surprise, this woman is a language expert. And we met lots of experts, and this is our first one in the language episode. And then we cut back to Pasco. Pasco's gone to the pub with his family and is babbling again.
Having a couple of pints.
Our expert talks about babies hearing the melody of speech, and how do they dig into the language and make sense of it, and so matching the melody of language to meaning. And so our expert is going to do an experiment, a big surprise, on language development, and it involves the combination of music and language. There are samples of speech, and they put on it. The thing is, they said it involves music and language, but it didn't actually involve music. It was more rhythm, wasn't it? And when they put pauses in. Yeah. So the idea of the experiment is they have a sentence, and they say the sentence as a normal person would, with pauses in the natural places. And then they record the same sentence again, but there's a pause in a place where you wouldn't usually pause if you're speaking it normally. Am I along the right lines here? Yeah. We only watched it about an hour ago. I should know this better. So they play the samples to the babies. I think it's in different ears. So one goes in one ear, one goes in the other, and then there's also
lights.
there's blinking lights on either side, and it's to check whether the baby looks towards the side that has the naturally spoken language, so with the pauses where they would naturally be, and yeah, as one might expect, the babies do look to the side where the natural language is coming from.
Yep.
Do you guys have any comments on this experiment or this section of the show in general?
Well, it was probably one of the better experiments and more detailed.
Well, no, the second one. He's talking about the first one where the data wasn't actually that decent.
Oh yeah, that didn't really tell me anything. It was a bit shit.
Yeah, it was a bit shit. There was no consistency in the data. And the other thing is it the blinking lights that's making a baby turn, or is it the actual? And this is, she just didn't have any. There was no quantitative, nothing to qualify. I mean, I just didn't like the data. I really didn't like the data. And again, it seems like bullshit. Also, very creepy lady at a swimming pool in her 60s, just staring at mummies and babies swimming. If it was a man in his 60s in a fucking public swimming pool, they'll think he's a paedophile. She looked weird. She looked weird.
She really did. She did.
And again, it's the close-up in the expert's face with the grin. Every episode, they close up on an expert grinning at baby like it's weird. It's so weird.
They're probably parents themselves. I think most of them have been.
Yeah.
Apart from the milk lady, she just milks cats. Do you remember?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's fair to say that experiment was one where it wasn't particularly revelatory. The fact that the babies, when they hear language that sounds natural, gravitate towards it rather than sounds that are unnatural.
Yeah.
Imagine how weird it would be if the babies were attracted to the non-natural language. I mean, that would just be bizarre and probably wouldn't ever happen.
It just lacked detail, like all the fucking experiments
and rigorousness.
Yeah,
rigor just in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we jump back in time. We're time travelers now, and we see Pasco back in the belly, 8 months pregnant. Well, Pasco isn't, but his mother is. And I'm not sure why we went back there. Oh, yeah, I think it was talking about when they can, take in sounds when they're in the belly, which is fair enough because there's all those stereotypes about playing your kid classical music, which is obviously a bunch of bullshit because so many people have done it and they didn't go on to have genius babies. So I think we can all realise that is
it's bullshit.
Generally bullshit. And then I think someone says that when babies are babbling, then when you notice it, let them lead the discussion. I think that's going to be a fairly dead-end discussion because, I mean, it's not like they can really talk. But I do get the point that if they're babbling, just kind of focus on what they're focusing on, and see if you can make sense of it. That just kind of.
Well, we went to see a speech therapist a few weeks ago because we were somewhat concerned about Romana's. Did I say this in another podcast?
No, but I think you referenced it briefly earlier today.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. So Romana, she's I said before, she's got a master's in fucking linguistics, something or other. I have no idea, but it's to do with early years language acquisition and second language acquisition, and so she is hypersensitive to our child's language development, and she thought that there was something going on. I thought it was fine, so we went to see a speech therapist, and one of the points that the speech therapist said was that you should lead the baby should lead the conversation, and if they try and generate conversation, take a leap of faith. Yeah, just go for it. Say something. If they're pointing at something and they're babbling at it, it's unlikely that you'll figure out what it is. But just say anything instead of saying, "What do you mean? What is it, sweetheart?" You know. And it seems.
You know what I remembered I used to do. I used to sit there with the kids. They go blah, 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 and I look at them. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I used to just do that.
Same.
Like, I know I'm an idiot, but it's just literally what I enjoyed doing. It's so much fun. I enjoyed that, and that's my conversation.
You can take the piss out of them, and they have no idea.
No, I didn't do that, you dickhead. You and look, you can't hold your head up, you dickhead. Like.
Okay, so then we're back with baby Nelson, who I think we last saw in the first episode. And I think the baby's Nelson's mother is a bit concerned because he's babbling, but he's not really speaking yet. Apparently, he's done everything else great, but not
driving
so
a
much
car
with the language. And then we make another geographical jump, and we're in Madison, Wisconsin, in the great US of A. And we have an expert playing Scrabble in a fancy house.
That house was beautiful, man.
She is
that was
dripping in privilege. And so she's playing Scrabble, and then another geographic jump to Brighton. We really do jump around more than a James Bond film in this show.
We do.
And
the villains tend to be the experts.
Yeah. Blofelds. And so then we're in Brighton with baby Willow, and talking about going from a baby to how in this period between around 1 year old, you're going from a baby to kind of a mini person. Willow is babbling, saying dada. Then we're back with the expert who asks how babies know when language begins and ends, and talking about babies working out how words fit together reliably. So taking the sounds and translating them into actual words. And so to give an example of the phrase "pretty baby" and how if you break the syllables down, then you can kind of make sense of the fact that it's two words. So the fact that the sounds like pretty might go together more than, say, if you take the last syllable of pretty, so T, and the first syllable of baby, ba, ta-ba, doesn't go together very much in the English language. Like there's no ta-ba sounds that
Just taboo, but no ta-ba.
Yeah, exactly. And so over time, then the babies will be able to notice these patterns and what fits together and almost piece it together like a jigsaw, I suppose. And so that was actually quite interesting to sort of break it down into the component parts and see how babies would then fit it all together. I think although this expert was dripping in privilege, her experiments made sense in a way that the previous one didn't.
Yeah. If I can also say, I think this is one of the smarter experts we've seen so far in this show. I think she's the smartest out of the lot.
There was a little bit more substance to what she was saying.
Yeah, she has a lot of substance and data, and kind of it made sense where she was going. So I liked her in all honesty.
Okay.
Well, I did like the point about she was saying that all of this stuff is going on under the hood of a baby, and you don't always see, but they are working towards acquiring that language, which is very, very cool. Now, something to also point out is in this show, they make reference to milestones, and they say them as if it's kind of like something that will happen. Your baby will do this at a year. Your baby will do this at 18 months, etc. They're not rigid about it. It's kind of soft. They may give a range, but it is also very, very important to note that if your kid isn't talking, it doesn't always mean that they are stunted. Exactly. It may be the case that there's a lot going on, but they're shy with talking. Yeah. You are absolutely best off going to see a professional if your kid is not talking or saying anything or saying things in a way which you wouldn't expect or is not comparable to their peers. Most likely, they're fine and it's nothing to worry about, as alarmed as you may initially be. But take it with a pinch of salt, because I know how distressing that can be for some people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go on and talk about the show. So we have an experiment, and the experiment is around using a made-up language, isn't it? I
like this one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
This is a better experiment.
Yeah. So the experiment is about the expert comes up with a number of words in the made up language, and they listen for 2 minutes, and they think they hear each made up word 45 times in total. And then the room goes silent and they start to test the babies. So there are lights on either side of the room, and when they look towards each light, a sound activates, and the words are either words that they've heard or non-words, which sounds strange because they're all non-words, they're not real words, but there's either made-up words or words that they haven't heard before. Mm-hmm. And the baby will get bored of the non-words they haven't heard before, and they focus on the actual words. So what did you take from? What do you guys take from this experiment?
It was smarter as an experiment. I still think that the lights have a big part in all of this. The blinking lights once again.
I don't think she didn't entirely explain how it worked, but for me it felt like reinforcement. And that's not entirely a bad thing. I thought that it was very interesting how they could piece together these syllable combinations and the order of them as well. The baby was demonstrating that by turning and being more interested in the normal words. It seemed to do it very quickly, so it was 2 minutes.
Can I just make an example of this? Well, what did they play those non-words that were correct for? How long was it? 2 or 5 minutes?
They played them for 2 minutes, and each word was said 45 times.
Okay. Repetition is essential in learning anything. Okay, they say even grown-ups, it takes 7 times that you're repeating something to them for them to follow a process. Mm-hmm. Now, when Christopher was 6 months, I remember because we were on holiday, he said the first word he said was dad. You know why? Because I sat him in the swimming pool. We were playing in the swimming pool, and I kept going, Papa.
I remember
Papa,
this.
Papa, Papa. Guess what he learned to say? Papa. But I sat there for half an hour doing it in the pool just to pee his mum off. She still holds this up to me. But it's repetition.
Yeah.
Language is repetition. That's how kids learn. And obviously different languages have different tones and different proverbs and all the rest, and they learn it in time. But it's just repetition. It's the way the fucking brain works. Once again, I find myself watching the show thinking, fucking common sense, you dickheads. Like, it just winds me up because all of these things are nice, but we're sitting there, I'm cutting my veins. Like, do you know what I mean?
You can just hear him in the background when an expert's on. Common sense, you dickhead.
Yeah, literally. That literally is what's going on. You can hear it coming out of my ears while I'm thinking it with the steam because I can't, my brain can't produce that much.
Yeah, definitely you do get a bit impression. You can tell, the differences between the experts that are doing something that makes a difference and the ones that are just kind of stating the obvious, like the one from last week where they're talking about the growth and they did the work of going around and measuring babies and they found something out that was new. That was valuable. Yeah. But
again, even this, it's one of my... one of the best experts I've seen on this show so far. But again, still, it's fucking common sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Even the stuff last week, it was just like...
well, I don't know if it was necessarily common sense.
Well, the baby skateboard with the helmet.
That was loud.
Sorry.
That was very loud.
I was very close to the mic.
So my point with this experiment today, like, it could be that when you hear something you've not heard before, that you're more attracted to it. So when the babies hear hear the non-words that they haven't heard before, why is it that they're attracted to the ones they've heard and not the ones maybe they should pay attention to the ones they haven't heard? So I think that's something that's not necessarily easy to predict. You can see it going either way.
Yeah.
And so that for me makes it worthwhile and not.
But it's the repetition of 5 minutes listening to the same word. Kind of. You're obviously gonna.
Well, not necessarily. Like, say if you heard right now something that you know and something that you don't know, you'd probably be like, "What is that thing I don't know?"
Yeah.
But with babies, it's hard to get in the mindset of a baby, and
you are right.
They're attracted to the thing that they do know because they're still trying to work it out.
Yeah.
So that that's.
Well, once again, lacks detail.
Yeah, lacks detail. Yeah.
It's a very very soft show.
Yeah. So
can we thumbs down, by the way, on our accounts when we have an opportunity? Yes.
I don't know. I don't care any idea that much either way.
I'm gonna thumbs down.
So then they talk about once baby figures out sound, then they work out meaning, which is again fairly straightforward. They said that babies before they can actually speak will recognise or know between 20 and 50 words, which is interesting. Then we go back to London and we're talking about bilingual babies. We've got a couple. I didn't get the name of the baby.
Habdul.
It wasn't Habdul.
Oh, come on, can we just use Abdul? I love that word.
No.
Habibi.
And it's a couple where the husband, well, I presume the husband is French and the wife's English, and they talk about how the options if you're raising bilingual kids is to have one language in the house and another outside, or to have one parent speak one language and another parent speak the other. And the expert talks about different languages have different rhythms and patterns, and how it's easier to learn multiple languages as babies. And we all here are raising, or have raised in John's case, somewhat bilingual children.
Yeah.
So this is something we all have experience of.
Yeah, indeed.
And then we switched off before we could learn more about it.
It was bullshit.
Our patience wore thin.
Well, it was that, and also the fact that we're parents with responsibility, and it was 9 p.m. on a Wednesday evening, and we needed to get on with recording.
We're drinking vodka.
With in amounts that are proportional with the responsibilities we have to discharge. To put it in a diplomatic way.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I think you can probably tell by the tone, especially that of John's, is that, I think this show, the shine is wearing off a little bit.
It is.
The formula is straightforward. You jet around the world and see cute babies. You get 3 experts who tell you about the experiments they do, and the experiments are of various quality or credibility. And it's up to us as viewers to sort of ascertain what we see as valuable and what we see as tosh.
Mm-hmm. This is dumb TV.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've seen worse. I mean, we live in a world.
Agree.
We live in a world that has The Only Way is Essex and Geordie Shore. I mean, I think in the grand scheme, this is probably rating top half in terms of complexity.
I think it's like a couple steps up, but not further.
What? Sorry.
From things like Towery and this is The Only Way is Essex. I really do think it's where you just switch off and
it's the kind of stuff that people in Towery would watch.
I don't know about that.
No, I think we're
Oh my God, such a
overestimating
cute baby.
They just probably watch Holby City.
Oh.
And just leave
No,
it
that's
at that.
Northern. They don't like the Northerners.
No, it's down south, I think.
Oh, is
obviously. Yeah, it's like Casualty.
God knows.
Yeah.
God
Anyway, so
Not a fan.
up in the air about whether we do episode 5 or 6. But personally, I think we
Let's
should
just
carry
keep
on.
insulting and get angry because blood pressure is not important to dads or kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think we should review?
What's that?
Transformers.
Yes, now that's a show I can get on board with, baby.
Oh, right, okay.
Babies.
Well, let's see. Because I do think that we should be, doing some of these watch-alongs. Maybe at some point we should do, I think like this earlier, I should have told you when we're not recording, but we could do commentaries at some point. So we could do a commentary over a show and then put that commentary out there.
Commentary we were doing today.
Yeah.
That lady's nose. Oh, my God.
So maybe that's something for the future. If any listeners out there have suggestions, then please let us know. It's actually probably worth noting we did actually have our first piece of correspondence this week. I can't remember what the subject line of the email was.
So disappointed.
We essentially was along the lines of "You're a bunch of C words." Wasn't it?
Can I?
Oh, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, let me just bring the picture because it's so disappointing. So basically, we put the email address up, and what people need to understand is Matthew is very good at putting people down. So I'm really hoping for someone to complain, and I got excited. The subject line said "Worst podcast ever." Cunts. I was like, yes, Matthew's gonna rip into this person. And then I was like, hey guys, sorry to disappoint. I'm only joking. This is fucking brilliant. I'm like, for fuck's sake, just complain, for God's sake. I want a Karen to write in.
So thank you, Mr. Emailer. Thank you for your kind
thank you
words.
very much.
It was very nice. And if anyone out there...
Fuck you too.
If anyone out there does want to write to us with feedback, suggestions, abuse, or questions, then please feel free to. We've started to get a few listeners, not many, but a few. And if you guys have feedback, then just let us know. Because really, we started doing this, 18 episodes ago with no experience of doing anything like this. We've been learning as we go. And if you guys do have pointers, then let us know. If it's something that you like hearing us do that you want more of, if it's something you don't like us doing, which you want less of, we'll probably do it more. But
Saying the word cunt.
But yeah, write to us. I'll give you the email address at the end, but if you want it now, it's overlyhonestdads@gmail.com. So we are going to take another brief break, and when we come back, we're going to round off with another dose of Am I Being Unreasonable? We'll see you in just a moment. Welcome back to the final segment of episode 19 of Overly Honest Dads, your favourite parenting podcast, indeed the best parenting podcast in the world. So we're gonna. Oh no, you gotta have confidence. What's the point if you don't believe in yourself? If you don't believe in yourself,
I believe in myself. I don't believe in you, mate.
How are other people going to believe in yourself? What's that?
No, go on.
Okay.
Rocky theme tune.
Oh, right. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to do Am I Being Unreasonable? So for the uninitiated, Am I Being Unreasonable is a board on Mumsnet, the popular parenting message board. And people post up issues that they're facing in their lives and ask if they're being unreasonable or not. And we weigh in with our honest viewpoints. And so the first one for this week is a return of a poster we've had before. The poster is named Jizz Pigeon 22.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
What surprises me is the 22. How many people have chosen Jizz Pigeon as a fucking username?
Probably a popular name.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, I know I've tried to get it before. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it as my Hotmail address back in the day. So I went with something else. So the title of this thread is, Would you be okay with your husband going to the cinema with a female friend?
Sorry, what?
Would you be okay with your husband going to the cinema with a female friend? So, Jizz Pigeon 22 says, I have a friend I've known since I was 3 years old. Last year he got a job in a pub directly across the road from my house, so I see him quite often, as he will occasionally stop by after a shift for a coffee or to see my kids, who they refer to as their uncle. They're all very close. Over the years, we've been to festivals together, holidays, camping trips, etc. He was the best man at my wedding. Last year, my husband passed away, and my friend was great in helping sort things out and just to have someone to chat to. We both like Marvel films, which his wife hates. So when the new Avengers film came out last year, he bought tickets for the first showing as it was 12 noon, so we had time to watch it before getting the kids from school. His wife was at work, and he was doing the school run. She went absolutely apoplectic, I can usually say that word, with rage when she found it. Well, presumably when she found out. She said that going to the cinema, was something couples do. I was desperate to get a man because my husband had died and now I was lonely, etc. My friend was so disgusted with her that it almost ended their marriage. I hadn't really thought about it till today when it came up in conversations with two other friends who had very different views. One was of the opinion it was fine. other of the opinion that it's never okay for men and women who are married to socialise, as that's disrespectful. Am I being unreasonable to think the cinema with a friend is fine? She's fine with him coming to my house, but not the cinema. I found it such a bizarre reaction, and the nasty things she said about me following my husband's death were pretty unforgivable. Is she being unreasonable?
No, and it's really stupid what her friend said, that men and women can't have can have platonic relationships.
I'd be more worried about him visiting her at home than going to the fucking cinema.
What's wrong with that? I see no problem with that. I really don't. I have friends that I do that with that are female. I would never dream of doing anything. It's mates.
Yeah.
Right,
I think there's lots of examples.
When you're spending a lot of time with her, going to see after work, going to see her and the kids and all that, and then you start going to cinema together, I understand why the wife gets fucking jealous.
I can understand it,
she should. But surely she should have. She should be used to it.
If it was me and I was in that situation, say if I was the guy who has the wife, I'd have said to the wife, "Do you want to go to the cinema with me and thingy? We go, well, you want to go and watch this Marvel film? I know you don't like. At
least mention it.
Yeah, and play it in a way that's smart. If you do it in a way that they don't find out,
manipulate your wife.
Right away.
There's obviously more to the story, and I'm sure that she is not warm to her.
Yeah, I reckon there's cattiness going on between the two originally anyway. You know, the kind of smiles where people kind of fake they like each other. I reckon there's that business going on, and now this has put a nail in the coffin, basically.
Yeah. Let's read some other opinions because I think this is actually slightly morally complex compared with some of the ones we have. So a poster called Ohio says, "I'm sorry your dear husband passed away. No, I wouldn't like my dear husband to go to the cinema with you in those circumstances." I think it's a pretty individual thing, isn't it, about whether it's something you're comfortable with or not. I think as long as you're not being overly jealous or overbearing, then it's okay to express your opinion, and you should be able to express your opinion in a marriage, and you should be able to set boundaries of what you're comfortable with and what you're not.
I don't know, man. Like, I
don't know, but if every day you go into another woman's house to see her kids, and then one day you go to the cinema without telling your wife.
Go cinema.
You understand what the problem is. I mean, Romana would flip and go, "Why didn't you tell me?" And you know, I think.
But she would flip. She would probably flip in the same way that if I went to the cinema with a male friend. If I went with one of my boyfriends.
Yeah, but there's a rumpy-pumpy potential if you go to our house every day and, rumpy-pumpy.
Yeah, but if the kids are around, it's hard to have that rumpy-pumpy, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, you don't know. Kids are asleep.
So Purple Daisy said she regularly goes out with male friends for cinema or a meal. They're friends of mine, and not dear husband, so doesn't have any problem with it. But I usually mention it in advance.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder why he didn't tell her when he booked tickets. And I think that's a good point. I mean, why don't you just tell her? Surely you don't have these issues if you're just honest up front.
I think it's the sneakiness. No, I reckon it's the sneakiness of it. I bet you he's going around every day because he's getting some. Okay. There wouldn't be that much of a reaction from the wife if she wasn't suspicious.
Well, I have faith that it's platonic.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being naive.
So let's move on. So the next one is from a poster called "Stop the Sing Song," and the thread is titled, "Am I being unreasonable to tell my son his singing is awful?"
That's a good thing.
So the post reads, "My adult son likes to sing and thinks he is talented, but actually his singing is awful. And he sings all the time when he's home, wandering around the kitchen, singing at the top of his voice with his very deep, out-of-tune singing. I don't want to offend him, but am I being unreasonable to tell him to shut the fuck up and stop singing, even though I know he sings because he's in a good mood and it's me that's the grump? Is she being unreasonable?"
Of course, it's like an oral attack. AU oral.
So I tell you this, my grandmother told me I can't sing. My grandmother was a lead in a choir in church. She can sing really in tune, even though she's deaf in one ear. She's really in tune. I was singing, and she said, "You don't have the gift." And she just told me, blatant out. I think I was singing along to something on Frank Sinatra or some shit, and she just completely just dropped it on me. Better that than fucking taking your fucking untalented kids on X Factor. Do you know what I mean? This is good. You should tell them when they're not good, because reality needs to hit kids early.
Singing is a learned trait. Yeah. You can learn how to sing.
Well, it's a mix. You can learn how to hold a tune, but you can't become a great singer without having the pipes.
Nobody sounds like Adele
extra
or the other
X Factor.
Yeah, and so I think it's mostly about how you communicate it. Like, it's okay to if I wouldn't sit someone down and say,
scream it and say you're shit.
And say, yeah, you're shit.
Kind of harsh.
Yeah, my grandma did it nicely because you don't have the gift. She just said, "You just don't have the gift. You're not in tune." I was like, fair play.
You do not have the gift.
John, porco Dios, just shut the fuck up.
you.
Why are you singing? Frank Sinatra is rolling in his grave. He was alive.
Say that all in Italian.
Gianmaria, non hai talento. Like, literally very nicely told me I have no talent. Like, fuck, okay.
It just sounds nicer in Italian, though.
No, but and then she followed up. I think later in the day she felt quite bad because I remember her saying, "But you're really funny and good at telling jokes." I'm like, yeah, I'm not even good at that. I haven't got timing with those either. That's all I could think. Fucking destroy me. It still scarred me.
Okay.
Conversation at 9 years old.
Okay, so moving on. The next post is from a poster called Democrazy. It's like democracy, but Democrazy. It doesn't really work. And the title of the thread is Am I a friend taking the piss or am I being oversensitive? So the post reads as follows. We own some land over the road from our house, invested in a small yurt and have a semi-permanent type summer glamping setup, fire pit, pizza oven, etc. I only read that far in the post because I just thought, oh God, I'm going to hate you, aren't I? I mean, if you invest in a yurt, Jesus Christ, there's no helping you.
What's wrong with the yurt? Oh, man. No, Matt, no. Like, yeah, I think it's all right. I like glamping.
I went helping you a lot. I
went glamping 2 weeks ago. You know this guy.
Yeah, but you didn't invest in a yurt.
No, I didn't.
A fire pit, pizza fucking oven.
Yeah, what's wrong with the pizza
You're
oven?
not fucking Italian, you dickhead. Leave the pizza oven to where the fucking came from.
Hey.
Anyway, friend texts me back to ask if she can use the site to celebrate her birthday. It's a big one, with a few close friends, about 10 to 15. I mistook the message as inviting my husband and I as well, which she replied saying she was embarrassed, but really she just wanted her closest friends and I wouldn't be invited. This is fine, as I wouldn't have considered myself in that circle. I'd say we're friends, but not super close. But we are good friends with a number of people who would be going. But I thought a bit cheeky that she would basically want to use our extended garden to have a small party, but not invite us. We've used the space for other friends and family celebrations, but we've always been part of them. I've said yes because I'd feel mean if I didn't, but equally feeling a little bit put out, though not sure if it's my embarrassment at assuming I was invited or my feeling being put out as they want to use the space without inviting us. P.S. I know this is a very much a first world issue and really not of great importance, just sense checking myself.
Well.
Okay, no, she has a point. The person, it's like, I want to use your garden, but you're not fucking invited, Mag.
Yeah.
Fuck off, you twat. I would have said no. She would have been right to say no.
I'd have offered money if I wasn't going to invite them. I'd have said, can we use the space, but we'll maybe give you a small fee because we want it to be like a private thing.
It's unfortunate.
She's done the wrong thing in saying she should have told him to fuck off.
The moment has unfortunately passed, and it sounds like she has
damn, I really wanted to get angry at this person, and yet they're right.
Yeah, they are.
It's quite annoying.
I mean, I'm still angry at them in general because
they're rich and they have a yurt.
And also I hate the phrase sense checking in general. That's something I hear a lot at work.
Sense checking?
Yeah, to sense check something.
Sense check? Why is everything I don't agree with anything you guys are saying in this podcast. There's nothing wrong with sense checking.
It's like, let's regroup. Let's regroup. Let's sense check in. Let's circle back.
Yeah.
It's just...
let's going forward, let's make sure we sense check and circle back before we go forwards.
Yeah, exactly. And I reckon we should meet again in a fortnight and... Fuck off!
John, what on earth is wrong with having a pizza oven and making a pizza if you're not Italian? What if I was to use my rice flour, vegan, gluten-free, to make the base? Would you be pissed at that?
I'm going to put my cock in your mouth in a minute, mate.
What if I microwaved ketchup to make it thicker?
Matthew, carry on.
Okay, so but yeah, you do not buy a yurt, do not invest in a yurt.
Or a pizza oven.
Or a pizza oven, seriously.
Unless you're in Italy.
Or just get a Domino's, for fuck's sake. So the next poster is called I Need a Miracle 2020, and the post is titled, Am I being reasonable to ask my mum's new girlfriend not to buy things for my baby? So the poster reads, Hi, my mum's recently come out as gay, which isn't the issue. I think it is, because you mentioned it first.
I'm not racist, but
yeah, exactly. That's how it read to me. I didn't read any further. Again, it's one where I read the first line and thought, there's material here. She has been seeing someone for the last couple of months, and she seems really happy. It just seems like she's putting a new relationship onto my brothers and sisters without any consideration that we could all be dealing with the news differently. My younger brother is 11, so I'm constantly worried that he's okay with everything. My main big bear, which I think she means bugbear, is this person has been buying things for my baby due in December. I understand that it most likely comes from a place of niceness and wanting to be accepted. However, it's really annoying that my mum's letting her do so. I haven't even met her yet. I'm obviously very protective, and I'm concerned my mum thinks my baby will have a relationship with her girlfriend like she will, when it's not the case. She won't be a grand like my mum will. I'm just looking for opinions on if I should get over myself and try and work on accepting that this woman will be in our lives, or take a brave pill and tell my mum how I'm feeling, even though she'll probably fall out with me. Now, I have opinions on this, quite strong ones, because my dad is someone who was never really settled down, and I've had so many stepmoms over the years, like you couldn't count them at this point. At one point, he was going out with 2 different women named Sue at the same time. And so I have opinions. So quickly, if you could get yours out of the way, and then I'm going to launch into a little bit of a spiel.
Yeah. John, after you.
She has more of an issue with her mum being a lesbian than anything else. I think that probably winds me. This is where the issue really comes from. It's the fact that the mum is a lesbian and she doesn't want to come out and say it, but that is the problem. It's not the problem of the stepmom, it's the problem that her mum's a lesbian and she hasn't quite dealt with that yet. And she's trying to vent in a politically correct way, but that's her issue. The real issue is that, in my opinion. That's what I'm reading from what you just said.
I personally think that there's a lot more to read into. This is a very complicated issue. We're not living in the year 3000. I can understand that they may have reservations, even though they may not want to. It does feel like there's a little bit of prejudice coming out. But at the same time, imposition of someone new, especially for something so delicate as a new baby, may feel awkward. I've never been in such a situation, but I'm trying to read between the lines here.
Did you just reference the Busted song, Year 3000?
No, I don't never.
Welcome to the year 3000.
Did you say we're not in the year 3000? And the only time I've heard of that referenced is the Busted song, Year 3000, which me and my friend used to do a really bad cover of at parties.
Did you like
for a joke.
Busted?
Not really. It was just a bit of a joke thing.
No, you like
to play on
Busted.
guitar. But my opinion on this is so I think when a parent gets a new partner and you're about to have a kid, it's okay to set some boundaries and say, look, when the baby's born, I just want to keep things to close family for a little while. And that's what I actually did when Emily was born. So my dad had left he'd recently left a fairly long-term relationship, and he'd got a new partner, and the new partner is still married. To this day, like 2 years later, she's still married. Anyway, I know it's bad. Please don't judge my dad. He tries his best. And I said early on, then, for a while, then I don't really want her to be part of the kid's life. But I knew that she bought presents and she was involved. You just set boundaries that are polite. And be clear, and tell your reasoning for it, and say it's nothing to do with them as an individual, but there's these experiences we go through as new parents are very important to us, and we want to go through them in a way we feel comfortable with. And so it's okay to set some boundaries, and make sure that things are being that you're comfortable, because you have to be comfortable. When you have a kid, it's kind of about you.
Yeah, I think it's also about the kid. I will tell you that my parents are destructive forces in general, and when my parents are going, you can't talk to grandma and grandpa because we're annoyed at them and stuff like that, I remember, I can tell you, I remember it was probably 1986 when I had meningitis, and I was 3 at this point. My grandparents bought me the police set of the Legos. Right, and I remember it clearly, and my mum threw it away because my grandma bought it. No. And I can tell you, I was 3 and I remember it. I was 3 and I remember it to this day. Whatever relationships come into a child's life at a young age, if it's a rough one or whatever it may be, you will remember it, because I can tell you I remember it. Yeah. And this is why, like, for example, my mum, my dad are a bit of a mess. As I said, you either are in a kid's life or you're not. They were trying to yo-yo in, and I said, no, you're either out or you're in. And they chose to be out now. So they don't actually talk to the kids anymore. But you can't mess with the child's life, because it's about the parents, but it's also how you're going to mess that child up with the relationships that come and go in the house. It's not cool.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the last one of the day, and this is from a poster called Bumblebee 151, which links up nicely with the Transformers earlier, because Bumblebee is one of the famous Transformers. And the thread title is, "Am I being unreasonable to expect him to help out? Am I insane? Dear husband is working from home since March and will be until next year. During his lunch hour every day, he swans downstairs and out of the door to get himself a nice coffee and sandwich. I do the food shop every week and make sure there's plenty for lunches every day. We have a toddler and a baby. I was on maternity leave, which extended into being temporarily laid off due to COVID. Is it unreasonable to expect that on his lunch hour, he might ask if there's anything he can do to help me out? Empty the dishwasher, put away some laundry, get baby's lunch ready, etc. Or is he just being a lazy ass? Is everyone else's husband just off the grid for the whole day while working from home, even on lunch?
Yeah, he sounds like he's being a dick.
Yeah.
What a cock.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like,
Taking
if I fucked off and went and got a coffee and then came back, Elisa will lose her mind.
Yeah.
Like, literally, she will lose her mind. Are you kidding me?
But
Mind you, I have very short lunches anyway, but I still go upstairs. Hey, how's it going? And I go back to the garage. I mean,
But he's working from home.
Yes.
I don't think it's entirely unreasonable to divide work from home, even though you are working from home.
Yeah, I know, but
I know,
that's taking the
But
piss.
a baby and a toddler,
kids, yeah.
2 kids, baby and a toddler.
No, you are right.
Yeah.
I think a mix of both, like a healthy mix of both. This is obviously not healthy.
No, it's not.
I imagine this is because
I just-
Romana listens to the podcast and you've had this argument.
I mean,
No,
to be fair,
we have indeed. Yeah.
he's got a big pair on him just to swan out the door every day at lunchtime and be like, hey, I'm going to have a nice chilled hour. You have fun.
Yeah, he's hanging low, baby. He got confidence.
Yeah, he's doing keepy ups with his testicles.
Fucking hell. Lend me some.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of episode 19, and I can't believe that next time will be episode 20. We'll have done 20 of these things.
20.
It's
Jesus.
pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's not really a milestone, is it? 20. It's more like 25 or 50. So we're not going to do anything to
Taken
celebrate
us a long
it.
time to get here.
Yeah, but we're in a rhythm now, doing them every week, which I think is good for us and good for the show. So that's good to know. So as we mentioned earlier, we have had some correspondence. So if you want to write in, please do. The email address is overlyhonestdads@gmail.com. That's overlyhonestdads@gmail.com. Now, please also rate us, review us, subscribe, do all of that kind of nice stuff. We're really enjoying doing this show, and it will make it even more enjoyable if we have more people listening. We'll get that by you guys rating, reviewing, and subscribing to our podcast. Tell your friends, any friends that you know who are going to be parents soon and might benefit from hearing some people talking honestly about their experiences and not the airbrush stuff that you get on documentaries or baby websites.
Babies on Netflix, that fucking shit show.
Yeah, but honestly, we tell it like it is, and I suppose that can be valuable to some people. So if you like us, do tell your friends and give us a review. And yeah, we'll be back next week for more of this bullshit. And oh yeah, we have an Instagram account at Overly Honest Dads. John posts some questionable memes to that page, including one today, which is borderline as fuck.
But it's dark humour and we all find it funny.
Well, yeah, it is funny, but it is dark. I mean, I'm not going to reference it here because I really actually don't want to reference it because it's pretty bad.
Should I play it?
No, do not do that. Do not do that, John. No, please no.
I'm joking.
To be fair, anyone that's listened this far is a die-hard fan. I imagine most people probably turned off a while ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Episode 1 with One Nut John.
so all that remains is for me to thank. I'm not sure if thank is the right word, but thank you, Magnus.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank all of you out there, and yeah, we'll be back again soon with more Overly Honest Dads. Until then, stay safe, be good, and we'll see you again soon.